What is up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing and welcome yourselves back to another zombies video on my channel. Today we're not going to be looking at Black Ops 3, although we do have some gameplay. What the fuck is this gameplay going on? Get that shit out of here. Today we're going to be looking at an Easter egg from World at War. This actually reveals a ton of information about our Call of Duty Zombies storyline, and well, it's something we haven't discovered for 7 years. And also a massive well done to Rage Overlord for finding this. So Treyarch made a video about a month ago telling us that there are still Easter eggs in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1 and World at War Zombies that we still haven't discovered, and honestly that really isn't very surprising. I mean, I bet there are so many more Easter eggs beside this one that we haven't solved yet. Or more recently, a week ago, Treyarch again, or more specifically Jason Blundell this time, came out and said one of the World War Easter eggs that we haven't solved yet is to do with the character bios. So people have been back to the character bios for World at War. You can see them up on screen now. We have 4 different ones, one for Takeo, Nikolai, Dempsey and our very own Dr. Edward Richtofen. So we have our 4 original characters and we have their bios, this information telling us about our characters. If you look very carefully in the information to do with our characters, if you start from the top, you will see the very first character is Tank Dempsey, the second character is Nikolai, then Takeo, then finally Dr. Edward Richtofen. If you take a look at the first letter of each sentence, starting from the top of the list with Tank Dempsey, then moving yourself all the way down finally to Dr. Richtofen, you will see that it will spell out this sentence. The Doctor wants the ultimate power, bastard. Again, the Doctor wants the ultimate power, bastard. So this for me is absolutely crazy and very exciting, but I'm guessing there's some of you saying, well, why is this actually relevant now? 7 years on in our Call of Duty Zombies storyline, we're now on Black Ops 3. Why is this old World at War Easter egg really relevant? Is it actually that important? It's only this very small sentence that, you know, straight off looking at it, it may not seem like anything, but if you break this down, it can give you a ton of information. And back when World at War was out, this could have revealed a load of our storyline for the future of Call of Duty Zombies that we didn't know back in World at War. So the first thing we need to know is, who is the Doctor? What may come to mind is Dr. Edward Richtofen. You can clearly see from the character bios, Dr. Richtofen is, well, that's what he's named as in the character bios. We could presume the Doctor is Dr. Edward Richtofen, and that's who I would say, but we also know we have Dr. Maxis, we have the recently discovered Dr. Monty, we also have other Doctors within Group 935, so it really could be any of them, and it's not, you know, 100%, but I'm pretty sure this is on about Dr. Richtofen. It says the Doctor wants the ultimate power, and we already know this by now. Because this Easter egg is 7 years old, we already know quite a bit about this. We know Richtofen did want the ultimate power, and his ultimate goal was to gain control of the zombies, basically become this mass leader of everything. Richtofen was this evil guy. Back in World at War, we wouldn't have known as much as we do now, so this could have given us a ton of information and a ton of ideas about what was going to happen in the future of Call of Duty Zombies. But since we have now discovered it, and we now know a lot more, we know Richtofen did want the ultimate power, and that's exactly what he did. He locked Samantha and Maxis over in the room, and Doris with the Hellhound or Fluffy, we know he teleported them, he got rid of Maxis, Samantha went over to the moon to the MPD pyramid. We know that eventually Richtofen changed bodies with Samantha, went into the MPD himself and gained all of this control over the zombies. Richtofen did want the ultimate power, and that's exactly what he got up until Black Ops 3 Zombies, where Richtofen now has a plan. So we know he did have the ultimate power, and that's exactly what he wanted. Now taking a look at the last part of this sentence. Richtofen wants the ultimate power, bastard. It's calling Richtofen a bastard. What is a bastard? Well, this could actually mean 2 things. Either straight away, the characters, whoever's saying this about Richtofen, is calling him a bastard, you know, a bad guy, they don't like him, you know, just insulting Richtofen. As you would, I mean, Richtofen was a bit of a dick. We always know him as this evil character, even though he's my favourite character personally. Who is your favourite character in this zombie storyline? Let me know in the comment section below. If it's someone from Transit, I am watching you, but it can be Misty, and let you off on that one. But, like I said, it could be the slang. Maybe this character, whoever's writing this about Richtofen, is just calling him a bastard. Or it could actually mean the definition for bastard, or the noun, which means a person born of an unmarried parent or parents. Or it could also mean an illegitimate child. So bastard means a person born of unmarried parents, basically an illegitimate child. We know that Richtofen as a youth went to university, and for his age, was very, very intellectual and much smarter than the other students there. Dr. Maxis, being his superior, actually noticed this, and after the death of Richtofen's parents, Maxis took Richtofen into his own hands. I guess you could say he kind of adopted him, even though he didn't. It's very, very similar what Maxis actually did to Richtofen. Richtofen looked up to Maxis as a father figure. Maxis always looked over him after the death of Richtofen's parents, and eventually bringing him into Group 935. So that could be the other meaning for bastard, a person born of unmarried parents or an illegitimate child. Richtofen was an illegitimate child of Maxis. Richtofen's parents died. We don't know if they were married. We also know that Maxis, once that happened, took Richtofen into his own hands, which would make Richtofen an illegitimate child. So that could also be the meaning of bastard. There are two different ways of actually looking at it. So that is the secret sentence we have now discovered. Richtofen, the Doctor, wants the ultimate power, bastard. If we go and take a look at the character bios and take a look at Richtofen specifically, his bio actually spells out the word bastard, and if we take a look at what it says, beware the dock. A message that was scrawled across the walls of every town under Axis control. Starvation may cripple you, dysentery may wreck you, and gunfire may rip the flesh from your bones, but beware the dock. This is Richtofen, known affectionately as the butcher to his victims as they scream in agony moments before he scuffs out their lives. All through his career, Richtofen has been at the forefront of torture and information extraction research. Richtofen is an incurable psychopath, which we know we have seen through World at War, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, what he actually did to Maxis and everyone else in the Group 935 research facility, what he did to the test subjects. And he sees no moral distinction between natural death and murder. The victim is the victim, regardless of how their demise manifests itself. Dr. Richtofen has a collection of stuffed animals, most of them posed in positions of terror at the instant of their death. So that's the Doctor, Richtofen, the guy that wanted and got the ultimate power up until Black Ops 3. The guy was, well, evil. You've just heard the description. You can hear the words he comes out with. Richtofen at this point, the older Richtofen that we played when we first started Call of Duty Zombies, is a very horrible person. But then when we get to him in Origins, when we get to Richtofen in the Giant, when he was younger, when he was in his youth, he was a very different person and his personality was completely different. In Origins, you can see that he is more level-headed, but he is still paranoid. He appears more unskilled due to him only being a field scientist back then and actually doesn't go into battle very often back then, but he still attempted to keep focus nevertheless. He appears more fearful of zombies and is more cautious for his own survival. In the Giant, after meeting Samantha Maxis and receiving an explanation of the original timeline, Richtofen became more focused to prevent future events, and that's exactly what you see in the Giant. Richtofen is trying to prevent the future from happening, and that's why he kills himself. When Richtofen walks out of that teleporter and shoots himself in the head, you can see on his face there is a lot of disappointment and disgust to his future self. However, as you get further and further into the Giant, into the later rounds, you will see Richtofen's instability actually comes back as he displays signs of insanity and claiming he hears voices in his head, which is from exposure to element 115. This resulting in his original personality mixing with his younger self. Also, it appears as if Richtofen is manipulating the others to advance his own agenda, such as telling Takeo he has a message from the Emperor of Japan. We know Richtofen in the Giant is hiding something. He doesn't want to tell the other three characters whatever Richtofen is hiding, and we know when you actually pack-a-punch something, he says, I must remember, the others can never know. We know Maxis and Richtofen together have a plan. Because of the exposure to element 115 in the Giant, Richtofen's former self, or his older self, is coming back a little bit, so you can see him starting to go insane a tiny bit again, but Richtofen is, well, more sane, more good, and we know he's got a different objective in the Giant. This sentence that we have right now doesn't mean as much as it probably would have back in World at War, but it's still an awesome Easter egg, and it can still show us what we will be getting in the future, and just reminds us of what Richtofen used to be, this evil person that wanted all of this power, and he was a bastard, but now he has a different plan. And you have to remember, most of this is because we are playing as the Origins version of Richtofen. Back then, he wasn't as insane, he had a different plan. If we were playing as the older version of Richtofen right now, well, I think we know what his plan would be. That would be to take over the world and all of the zombies. I am very, very interested in this, and, well, I'm really excited. It's really awesome that we've actually found this, and hopefully we can find more Call of Duty Zombies Easter eggs in the future from previous maps. I bet there are so mmany more in World at War, but hopefully you have all enjoyed the video. I put a ton of effort into it, so, as always, if you could drop me a like rating, that would be much appreciated, but I am never going to force you guys into it. It's all I really ask. It's a small favour, but thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't we're ready for daily zombies videos. I've been BlackOpsAmazing. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Who is your favourite zombies character? And as always, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you and goodbye.